Okay, there we go. All right, let me just get it. Do some little techie thing on my end here, and there we are. There we are. And okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Dollars and Cents. We are well. We're always happy to be here. Glad that you're able to join us. Shout outs to my Canadian family. Happy Thanksgiving to the American family, right? What Keisha's laughing at me. So Minerva, I'm in the US right now, but so I'm sort of doing this
Okay.
remotely. Yes, yes. But
Awesome.
yeah, so
Awesome.
shout outs to everyone. And like I said, happy Thanksgiving to the
If
American
there it
fam.
is. And the
Yeah,
rest.
especially to those in Florida. Um, so we are back. We've been off for a couple weeks, a few weeks, but when life happens, we have to take those little moments to sort of handle things and then come back. And today, shout outs to Wade, he was on here with us, Billy Jane, who's on here with us as well. They have to take care of some things, so Keisha and I will be holding it down for them, but hopefully they're doing all right. And we are gonna press on. We have a special guest with us today, Keish, and I have a bio for her. So before we get into who she is and what she does, let me just give a little bit on about her from her bio. Is that okay? Our special guest.
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
All right, all right. Okay. Minerva McCoon. Is it? Is am I? Did I say your middle
Yes,
name right?
you are
Okay.
pronouncing it correctly.
Okay. McCoon McBean is a successful growing entrepreneur. She currently is the co-founder of Dreams World Travel Canada, which specializes in immigration, education, and travel consultancy based in Toronto, Canada, helping migrants and students fulfill their dreams and newcomers settle in. Right down our alley already, Keish.
Mhm.
Um, Her love for traveling and seeing the world caused her to be enthusiastic of starting such a business. The idea came to mind in 2016 while she was still living in Jamaica and assisting close friends and family with their travel plans and assisted them with visa applications if the country if the country they wished to visit required one. She migrated to Canada in 2017 and, having arrived as an international student, birthed another dream of helping others to fulfill their dreams of studying in North America. She is now a certified education counselor and immigration advisor. Minerva is also a college professor and an award winning author. Yay! Minerva also has over 17 years of experience being an accountant. She graduated from the University of Technology, Jamaica, where she pursued business administration, majoring in accounting, and minored in finance. She also pursued business administration at the Canadian Institute of Management and Technology in Toronto, Canada, where she was given the Illustration Award for being the Student of the Year. She has worked with many leading businesses, including Fortune 500 companies, major food chain stores, theme parks, corporate offices, just to name a few, where she exercised her knowledge in accounting and management. Minerva's philosophy in life is being determined, as the famous quote says. The difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack in will. Vince Lombardi. Be determined to achieve your goals. Never give up and always persevere. Minerva is family oriented, is a family-oriented individual and a firm believer in God. All right.
Amen.
Welcome once again.
Thank you. Thank
Minerva.
you.
No, thank you for being here with us. Thank you for
It's a
coming on
pleasure.
to talk
It's a
to us.
pleasure.
All
And
right.
can we, I mean, woo, that was quite a
Yes. Shout outs to the bio.
a lot of credentials there, definitely behind you, 100%.
Yes. Author included.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Included.
yeah, man. So Minerva, I mean, granted, the bio is very detailed, but tell us some other things before we get into, what it is that you do and the business that you have going. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself. That some things that weren't in here, pretty much.
For sure. Well, growing up, I was more on the reserve side. I was
Okay.
the shy person looking in. I would be the one, what you call, I would be observing. I would be the observant person. But growing up, I realized life kept putting me in positions that I had to be open. I had to be more talkative, so to speak.
Right.
And some things comes with experience. And being out there now, I realize that my husband tells me all the while, no, he can't get me to stop talking. So other than that, in my spare time, I love cooking. I like to read books. I like to do researches on things that that can make me, my family, or my children somewhat to improve ourselves, because we're not just here to exist. We're not just here to live, but we're here to pass on knowledge. And through our knowledge and expertise, we're empowering other people, especially women. We don't get that acknowledgement out there as much as we should. But the more we, put ourselves in circles, that, I'm meeting you now, KP, and whatever you are passing on your expertise, I'm passing on my expertise. Together, we build a better community around us. So that's just a little bit about me on the outside that was not in the bio.
Okay. All right. Thanks for giving us a little bit more insight there.
Yeah.
And all right. So it says here in your bio, right, that you have a business, right?
Yes.
And in terms of some of the things that were highlighted, you talk about migrants, immigration, travel, all those
Yes.
things that are meaningful to our community, right?
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sure you help everyone, right?
Right.
But as it pertains to our community, we know that these things, they hit a nerve, right?
Yes, they do.
We know.
They do.
So how long have you? Tell us the name of your company again, and how long have you been doing it, or has it been going?
Right. Okay. So Dreams World Travel has been, as I said, the name of the existence of it. I started an Instagram page back probably in 2015 or 2016.
Okay.
Just, sharing places that I've visited, sharing those pictures. And as I said, the concept of it came about with me, the fun of traveling, the thrill of traveling, and then helping co-workers, family, friends. And then when I came to Canada, as an international student, I saw another aspect of it. And then having met my business partner at the time, I shared that vision with him, and he said, that's a great idea. That's something, if you want to go, he said, go ahead, go. Because I told him about the getting certified to be an education counselor. And, I started from there. Then I got connected to immigration consultants where I started doing the course myself, and giving, surrounding myself with people that have been in the business for a while, giving me expert advice,
Right.
and then incorporating that into my business that I'm now applying settlement services for these newcomers, as international student or as an international student myself, having walked the journey, I realized that there are some things that can be avoided, and it's just lack of information. And once you have that information, being able to guide your clients in the right way, it's success for you, for me, for everyone, right? And as I said, as an immigrant to Canada, walking the journey, it became more of a hobby than actually a work that I'm doing, because I find pleasure in helping these people to come in and settle. And, as we speak about community, there are people that are inside Canada too, that they're here, but then, they're going to school, but they don't know their options after school. That's something that, we try to educate them about, that, listen, there are many options other than the Federal Express entry or the Canadian Express entry that you're familiar with, that, you can tap into, like the provincial nominee program. So, those are things that we educate people with that are here too, not only international people. And if you're here as a migrant, you don't know where to go to, as simple as opening a bank account, applying for your social insurance number, things like that. We provide those services. And of course, travel. To get here, you have to travel. So since we started with that idea, I continue to provide that service as well. And now with the borders opening up worldwide, we have been seeing an increase for people wanting to see the world again. So that's definitely how we see how we can help not only our people, but the community at large.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm just, so by the way, as we get little comments, what we do is that we'll put them on the screen. So right now we have
sure.
Andrea giving you a shout outs there.
Thank you, Andrea. Always love the support.
Awesome.
So she's a client of mine that I'm currently working with, and
good stuff.
She's always showing the support.
All right.
There was a nugget in there that I wanted. There's little nuggets that we can take away as well as our guests speak. One of them was, if you notice, Minerva in this strive and in this quest, in this career path that she's taken, she's making sure, or she has made sure, that she has surrounded herself by individuals that are going to allow her, or take her to the next level, right? We can't, sometimes when we're in a room, we think we know it all. If we know it all, there's no room for improvement, right? There has to be someone else that knows more. And what you can do, or the best thing to do, is align yourself with those individuals so that you can grow, so that your business can grow, right? So that you will be in a better position. I want to take a quick little step back here, in terms of the migration process. Now, of course, this is not just you just taking this course. You've lived it. You've gone through the process, so all the little trials and tribulations that may come about.
All the ins and outs, yes.
All the ins and outs.
All the little dips in. Let us know. Take us back through the journey a little bit as to what you're willing to share as to you doing it on your own. What complications did you come across? Of course, we know that you were doing it from home already in terms of helping other individuals. But as you start to take that leap, 2 questions. Why Canada first in terms of your migration? Because you said you've traveled around a little bit. And when you decided it was Canada.
Why not Florida? Why not some warm destination?
You're
when you decided that it was Canada, let us know a little bit about that journey, that may help someone else.
And just to follow up with Keisha's question there, give us as much details as possible, because we understand, like you hinted at it in what you're describing when you were talking about the small things.
Yes.
Social insurance number, health card, sorting out these things. So go ahead, take it.
Okay, sure. Okay, so my idea of coming to Canada goes way back. It goes back to 2009, I believe. And,
Uh-huh.
sometimes you have people in your life that you necessarily don't copy them, but they inspire you.
Right.
So I had a cousin of mine who migrated to Canada, and she shared her experience, and she said, you being young and all of that, this would be a great opportunity for you. This country would be a great opportunity for you. So
Mhm.
it's I did my research even before coming to Canada because I hadn't visited Canada at that time,
Mhm.
and I realized that it's somewhere that I just felt an instant connection to without even knowing the place personally, right? And
Even with the snow.
without knowing the snow. Oh my God. Right. So the company I was working with, it was ACS at the time. It's now Xerox, or sorry, now Conduit. It
Right.
has this name again. They're an offshore company. So I got the opportunity to have worked with the US Fortune 500 companies, things like those.
Mhm.
And they opened in an office in downtown Toronto. There was an opportunity for me at the time to manage that on the Jamaica side. So I would be reporting to the manager here in Toronto. In so doing, I had to travel here to do training and things like those. So when I came to see the place myself, of course, I fell in love with it. I was telling somebody the other day, I was taking them for a tour downtown, and I said, "This is what everybody comes in Canada to see," and they fall instantly in love with, including myself,
Right.
right? And so from that, I started working on it. I started doing my research. I realized that, it's not the only option, but one of
Mhm.
the easiest options to come in would be as a student. So I started looking into that perspective, and I connected with a college, and that's where the journey of coming to Canada, studying, all started. I came here, and as I said, as a newcomer, not having information, things like that, I was all over the place. So I came here, and that college actually gave me the first opportunity of actually recruiting students. So while I was a student there, they approached me and they said, "Listen, we don't have a lot of Caribbean students. And you being here as a Caribbean student, would you be interested in recruiting for the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica?" Um, it came through this year, went through this year, because as a newcomer coming, you're thinking of how to get yourself settled. I
Right.
didn't come with the family at the time. I came by myself, and a couple of months later, the family joined. Um, there were many hiccups, many hiccups along the road. Things, as I said, for my clients, there are things that I see that can be avoided. And the
Mhm.
most important is just lack of information.
Right.
So I had to find, of course, an immigration consultant to help me through the process. So I went that route. We maintain a very good relationship up to this very day. I
Mhm.
refer clients to him for cases that I can't manage.
Right. Right.
Right. And with the relationship one to one, and seeing how he did my family's case, putting it very detailed. I remembered when we got our permanent residency, we were sitting in his office, and he said, the agent who dealt with your file, his comment was attention to detail and how we put your file together. It was very well put. And that is something that I try to bring into my organization now, paying attention to detail, and, just not serving myself to look good, but serving the client to the best of my ability. That when they do get here, you know, it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, because everybody has their own experience, but the support, they have a support system, because we don't only get you that letter of acceptance, We don't only do the study permit for you. I like to call it post-arrival support. So we try to find, if you don't have housing when you're coming here, if you're not staying with a family or friend, we try to provide that for you. We have connections such as Keisha and other agents that we might say, hey, we have a student that's coming in now. We don't have the accommodation right now. My house is being held, as in my basement. I try to just who I can help. I say, come. You don't have anywhere, come and stay with me, right? And we try to settle you in that way. We try to connect you as students coming in. You're able to work part-time. So we try to connect you with jobs. I try to put myself in the circle where I have the connections. I'm not necessarily the person doing it, but I have the connections that I can say, okay, if somebody needs a job, I know where to call to find to help that person to get a part-time job, right?
On that, sorry to interrupt, but on that note there, like, I'm not in your world.
Yes.
But in terms of somebody coming in,
yes,
student-wise, right?
Right.
So that is possible. That they're getting a job. Like, is there a distinction in the kind of visa they get or documents they get in order to come that allows them to do that? Or
yes, they're coming as a student. It allows you to work 20 hours part-time.
Okay.
And 40 hours on your scheduled breaks. So some colleges have their own breaks, and then winter, of course, and summer holidays, you're able to work your full 40 hours at that point.
Outside the school environment or within the school environment?
Outside of the school environment,
Okay.
once you're on break, yes.
Okay. All right.
Right. And then just going back, as I said, we take the clients actually to the bank to open their bank account, because we have a relationship with a particular bank, and we go and we take those clients there. We get them starting. We do counseling on tax returns.
Right.
We see, Canada is big on tax returns, and coming as an international student and being able to work part-time, that's money back in your pockets when it's tax season. So we give that counseling. So, and when we give counseling on credits, on how to build your credit, because we learned the hard way.
Right.
We're not used to the North American way. In the Caribbean, the more money you pass through your account, they use that. You can use that as a collateral. Here, they don't know about that. It's all about credit.
That's why we have partner.
Right.
When you said with the bank, when you mentioned taking them to the bank there, I kind of chuckled there because he had not a very good experience when opening his first bank account in terms of understanding, everything.
And I came as a youngster. I came in. My brother brought me in, so it wasn't like I was older or anything like that. So I can only imagine for a person, a newcomer coming in, and so in on that particular note, when you do something like that, are there certain things that they should understand, individuals coming in should understand as it pertains to a particular bank, or are there little things, or it's just the intimidating side of doing it?
Yes. So what happened is that a lot of what I found during my journey when I was in the classroom setting is that people come here and they don't know where to turn.
Okay.
So they're getting money in from overseas. Parents might be sending money, spouses might be sending money, but they're getting it like through Western Union, MoneyGram, things like that. And during that time, they miss out on able to building their credit from the very first day they step into Canada.
Okay.
Right? So they miss out on that big opportunity. So by opening a bank account and, your spouse is able to send, or your mom and dad is able to wire those funds to you directly there, and you start using your debit card to do your little transactions, you have a history with the bank. That by the time you're a permanent resident, and you have some money saved up, Keisha can tell you, you're on your way to owning a home because you have had that history. You've built your credit what most, I had this conversation with somebody last night. What most banks are doing now, it's not, and again, it's all about information, and that is
Mhm.
why we take this upon ourselves to help the clients.
Mhm.
Is that as an international student, they give you that opportunity now to build your credit by giving you a credit card,
Mhm.
right? It's not open to everybody. Again, it's about relationships, but it's how you present yourself when you go to the bank. If you are, a lot of people come in and they're international students, but they're people of my age group, right?
Right,
And
right.
so they've had successful businesses back home. They
Right.
have been working for a period of time. You go, you present yourself to the bank, you give them that history, and then they're ready to help you. They say, okay, we're not only signing you up for an account today, but we're also giving you a credit card so you can start your journey on building your credits. So that those are things that we do counseling on. And the most important thing, we have an intimate relationship with our clients because we have one-to-one consultations. How do we do that? We do Zoom consultations. So once you're coming on board with us, we say, okay, book you in for 30 minutes consultation, and we kind of break it down to you. You tell us first what you're looking for, and
Right.
then we try to, advise you around that. And then that's how we help our community at large.
Okay.
And in terms of just for my own clarification, I'm the clueless one on here. Keisha
No,
and the
no
others are
problem.
the
Go
experts,
ahead.
right?
Go ahead.
Um, so your help with individuals coming is mainly around education, right? So they're coming in to study, right?
Right, but that's not the only thing.
That's right.
Right. If you already have the credentials, meaning that you have work experience outside Canada, you have
Uh-huh.
a bachelor's or master's degree,
Right.
you are of a good age. When I say good age, 35 and below, that does that does count towards adding up your points. And then, we all have to do this thing, what they're called the IELTS, the English test.
Uh-huh.
So once your proficiency in English is good,
Right.
then you are able to tap into the federal skill worker program,
Okay.
or the provincial nominee program, and know that what is taking new wave is the Atlantic pilot program, right?
Mhm.
There's also the federal skill trade program. So if you have skills as a carpenter, as a mason, as a cook, things like those, they don't have that draw all the time, but
Mhm.
their points are lower, meaning that if federal skill worker points is 400, then the federal skill trade will be like 200, 250, right? Then you can also tap into that. So we do provide those as well, right? So it's
Okay.
not just education, it's
Oh, okay.
yes.
Well, can you help others now? I know we're obviously situated here in Toronto, and we are speaking about between Toronto and Jamaica, based on, of course, your background. Can you assist others that are looking to migrate, outside of Canada? Is it just, are we just talking about Canada and Jamaica, or are you able to, if we have listeners that are maybe listening in from, let's say, I don't know, Africa, or from another island, or maybe from the US, can you help them to come in? And also, can you help them in the reverse if they're looking to possibly go to school outside of Canada?
Yes, so we do provide study abroad programs not only to Canada, but we
Hmm.
also provide to the US and the
Okay.
UK, right?
Hmm.
And putting those three umbrellas together, we have access to over 1,500 colleges and universities across those three globes, right? So we
Okay.
do assist clients with that. Coming anywhere from the world and wanting to migrate to Canada, we
Hmm.
do assist that. As you speak of that, we do have partners in India. We do have partners in Africa. And we have, as you know, Jamaica, Guyana. My business partner, he is from Guyana.
Hmm.
Trinidad, we do all of those. And so it's just to put it in a nutshell, No, we do provide to the world at large. For other migrating to other countries, we are looking now into the US. We have not full-fledged gone into it. We are taking baby steps towards it, but we are looking into helping clients, to probably prospects of getting their green card, things like that, into the US. Right?
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very rounded. So it's not just coming in, but it's also wow.
Going out, yes. So we
Man,
have to be that bridge that connects. My husband likes to put it that way, that he's a connector. He knows he just connects people all around. So
listen,
that putting it into a business perspective, yes, we want to be that connection to inside and outside of Canada.
I don't know. I'm guessing, I guess, for when things happen, it's just the time for it to happen. But when I mean, I didn't know about Minerva, and there were a few guests that we had on here, and I'm saying, what was I thinking, or where were,
Yes.
because in the profession that I'm in, right? We
Yes.
come across a lot of individuals, right?
Yes.
Especially in the categories, with having to do with school and all that sort of stuff. And
Yes.
but
Yes.
anyways, we're here, and that's good, right? We now know about you.
First time.
Yes.
Nothing
All right.
before time.
What, you had another question, Keisha?
No,
in
go ahead.
terms of-
Go ahead.
All
I'll
right.
piggyback
No,
you.
I mean, yeah, I just wanted you to just continue on along the same vein in terms of talking about the little things that individuals may not think. They're thinking about the larger things, the papers,
Yes.
and how to fill those out and all these different things. Oh well, actually, let's start so when somebody decides, you know what, I think I'm going to try Canada out, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'll put your social media information is here, right? So I
Yes.
know you're on Facebook, I know you're on IG, and I see LinkedIn as well, right?
Yes.
Am I
Yes.
am I
Yes.
missing anything? You have a website as well?
We're on Twitter. We're on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yes, and we are currently doing YouTube videos now to just let people know of the
Right.
services we provide, and how it can happen for you.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So I'm coming to Canada, right?
Yes.
What, and we reach out to you. What how does that work in terms
Okay.
of
Through the
So
process.
the
Yeah.
first thing, you might reach out to me via email, via
Right.
WhatsApp.
Uh-huh.
I just do a simple scenario assessment. I said, okay, great. What it is that you're looking to do.
Right.
Or I say, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you might say, oh, well, I'm a recent graduate from high school, or
Uh-huh.
I have my master's, or I have my degree. So those three different people won't be the same advice for a high school
Right.
student versus a person who has their bachelor's already versus a person who has their master's already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for a high school, for instance, I might say, okay, great. In the Caribbean, we would say how many CXCs or CSEC passes
Yes.
you have. So it starts from there. And then once you tell me that, and you tell me some have an idea of what they want to do, some
Uh-huh.
may not. So based on what you tell me, I may say, okay, I have this college that I can refer you to. I may ask their budget. I said, is parents gonna be sponsoring you, things
Right.
like those. And we get into it. And I said, okay, for us to have a detailed conversation, book a 30-minute consultation with me,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll take it from there. So during that 30-minute consultation, we have a very detailed conversation. I give you options of colleges. I give you options after college and what it is that we can do to help you get there, right?
Okay.
So once you decide, okay, yes, I am going to go with XYZ college, I send you, sometimes we have pre-filled forms, other
Uh-huh.
times different colleges, different scenarios. I may send you an application form to fill in, or I may ask you for the information,
Right.
because some people don't really like to do the paperwork. So I may ask you for the information, and we fill in that information for you for the application. We always say, as consultants, we cannot guarantee that you will get a letter of acceptance, but what we
Okay.
do is to put together a well put application, a convincing application that when the admin person is looking at it, they're saying, okay, this person meets the criteria, and they give that letter of acceptance. So we are the bridge. We communicate with that college or university on your behalf, whatever it is that the college may need additionally from what we send. We send to the client, we say, okay, the college is asking for this, university is asking for this. And we do that until the point you get that letter of acceptance. If you don't get that letter of acceptance, we have backup colleges, we have backup programs. Maybe for the same college, you may not get into that program, but they have another program that is open. I put it across, I say, listen, is this something you're interested in? And then we move from there. Once you do that, then I give you a full guideline on the study permit process. So I would say, okay, the main things for study permit is your ties to your home country and your proof of funds. So I advise you around that. That's how to make that possible. And again, as consultants, we cannot guarantee the success of the study permit, but what we do, we give expert advice and put together a convincing application that when the visa officer is looking at the application, they're just check marking. They're saying, yes, this person has everything that we're looking for. And then once you get that study permit, then we're saying, okay, it's time to come. Do you have somewhere to stay? Who will you be staying with? If you have somewhere to stay, that's good. When you're here, do you need transportation from the airport? We provide that as well. If it's Toronto, that is. And then when you're here, we do checkup calls on you. Are you okay in your program? Because one of the most misleading things for international students, they choose a program, they come, they don't enjoy it, and they think they have to stick with that program. But no, the government.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Like, is that, as I just
the government of Canada makes it flexible that you are able to change not only program but college while you're here. All you have to do is to report to them and tell them the change. If you're changing program, you don't have to tell. But if you're changing the college, then you what is called as the designated learning institution number, otherwise known as the DLI, you have to inform the government of that change. And it's a simple thing. You go on the IRCC website and you just go on student, and then you're able to change your college DLI, right? So those are things that we try to make sure that the client is comfortable with what they're doing. And as we said, we provide the post support services, post-arrival services to them, that when they're ready to do their permanent residence applications, we're also here to assist through that. So we're here to stay with you forever.
That's a good thing. Is there a particular field, career path that you would suggest to individuals, or you would think that it would make it easier for individuals to get in, or financially speaking, it would be beneficial to them, or you just leave it up to the individuals?
So that is why we do the consultations to see where that individual is. Right. So we do have a partner school right now that we do work with that, they're more flexible. They aren't the public college, but they are private career colleges. But that's for another conversation. Right. But they do assist students who financially they aren't able to come up with the funds all at once.
Okay.
And then they do assist students with internships. So all their programs have an internship attached to it, or what we call co-op, that once you go out there and you do that internship or that co-op, then it opens the prospect of that company sponsoring that person for immigration when the time comes. Right. So we do have options like that. For now, what I have been seeing as a trend, anything in the health field right now, anything at all in the health field that you wanted to come here and pursue, we have been, during the pandemic, we have been realizing that that is what has been, they've been taking people like PSWs and things
Oh
like
yeah.
that right now. And even for our community, people who are here, never did that before. If you want to go back and do that, that's an area you want to do a second career, that's an area that you can also think of. Technology, always, IT is always booming for Canada. So, they're always looking for IT professions, IT people coming in to study IT. It's good. Canada loves that. And what we have been seeing is the hospitality coming out of the pandemic now. There are many, tourism management products companies that are looking to fulfill their labor shortages, and people that come in and study hospitality management, that's an area that is open for them. So those are programs and areas that we have been seeing a high intake in.
In terms of the pandemic, well, I'll get the pandemic after. Financially speaking, right?
Mhm.
I don't know how much information you can give, but like I
Yes.
say, I'm the guy from the black community, and who will throw these questions out because I
Yes.
know what it's like. Grew up in those neighborhoods. And by the
Mhm.
way, as you're talking, I can just in my head just see some of our people who've been hiding in the shadows for a while, raising their head because
Yes.
they realize that there is a way to go about doing something, right, rather
Yes.
than just being lost out there, or you're
Yes.
clueless, right?
Yes.
Funds, finances, money, right?
Mhm.
Talk to us a little bit about that. From in the are you able to give us, even if it's rough figures,
Yes,
individuals who
sure.
want to come, what kind of
Mhm.
monies do they need to
Yeah.
consider for the school, your services,
Yeah.
other things that they may run into,
Yes.
so that it's not like just a dream and then folks are just living off that dream, but you
Dream, but
need some
able to work
real,
towards something.
right,
Yes.
right.
Okay, so let's speak on the education side first.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming to study, you're looking at programs ranging from 10,000 to even 20,000, depending on
Okay.
what you want to study per
Mm-hmm.
per
Mm-hmm.
um, per annum. That is
Right.
right.
And
Um,
that's just the program.
that's just the program.
Okay.
But however, how I like to sell it to my clients, look at it in small increments,
Mm-hmm.
because the college or the university is not going to take that. Not that they wouldn't, but they don't take the entire tuition one time.
One time.
To
Okay.
Okay.
secure your seat, some is a percentage of the tuition for the
Okay.
first semester. Others is that you pay the first semester fee. So if it's a 2 semester and say it's 14,000, you're looking at roughly about 7,000 to guarantee your seat into the program, right?
Okay.
Um, then you're looking at living expenses. You have to show the government that once you're here, you're able to take care of yourself. That's the minimum of $10,000. You just need to see it for the first year. So if you're doing a 2-3 year program, you don't need to show 30,000. If you have it, then that's good. The more funds you
Mhm.
have, the better it is. But you
Right.
don't have to show it, right? The good thing with the study abroad program, it's not just cash flow. They use a mixture of assets, investments, and cash. So if you
Mhm.
have a home, if you have a car, you have a land, you have investments, like mutual funds, things like those, it does help with your portfolio for showing that proof of funds. Um, and along with your tuition receipt, then you should be able to show that you're able to pay the next year, just the first year again,
Mm-hmm.
um, tuition fee. So,
Okay.
so basically, that is how you would, show your proof of funds. In some instances, if your parents are the ones that are going to be doing the financial side of it, then they show their bank statements. At least Canada wants to see at least 6 months, 3 to 6 months activity in your bank account, right? And then they want to see how is it that that person would be able to sponsor you It doesn't have to be your parents. It could be family, friends, anywhere living in, not in Canada, anywhere living in the world, as long as they're financially stable and they can show their financials, right? And then for my fees, usually we do a package. As I said, we do the letter of acceptance, we do study permits, we do post-arrival support, even pre-arrival support, right? And then for that entire package, it's $1,500. Do clients pay all at once? No. For clients who aren't able to pay all at once, we do it in increments. So usually to start the paperwork for you, we say, okay, $500. And then as the stage goes on, maybe when you're putting in your study permit again, depending on your financial status, then you
Right.
make a payment plan with us. So that's how we try to help our clients, because we know that thinking about the tuition is one, but thinking about paying for the services is another. How do
Right.
we operate the two? So we say
And
we'll walk you through the entire process and we'll do it in increments. You don't have to pay us all up front.
and there are funds that they would have to calculate too, even before your services, correct? I mean,
Well, just for high school students, to be honest with you, I do free consultations for them.
right.
Outside of high school students, it's $50 consultation fee.
Mhm.
Mhm.
$100 consultation fee
Right.
across the board, right?
Okay. I'm
Right.
learning.
Pretty reasonable too. Yeah.
You have a question, Keisha? I got one to throw here. The pandemic. You had mentioned the pandemic. How
Yes.
did this affect your clients, or how did it affect you, or both, or we're still
That's an
technically we're still
interesting
in it.
question. Would you believe that
Mhm.
during the pandemic, it's where I started to settle in more into the business and
What?
where I started to see profits going up? Because I'm not sure, but I think because it gave me the time to
Okay.
actually go in depth, and I was in between starting it. I was not a permanent resident. I started it without being as a temporary resident, and then
Mhm.
going into it and then sort, because that's another thing where we talk about support.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
because when you are concentrating on just being a permanent resident, it takes away your skill factor.
Mhm.
Your whole concentration is on that. But
Right.
for me, I had a different approach. I always acted, or I act in the position as if I already had it. So I always did what I always wanted to do.
Mhm.
And during the pandemic, the people too had a time to reflect on what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of calls, I got a lot of referrals, I did a lot of Zoom presentations,
Mhm.
and it's during those Zoom presentations that I built my clientele. And then
Okay.
one person I helped started referring to other persons, and then it
Mhm.
started growing from there. So it actually was a plus for me during the
Mhm.
pandemic, rather than, it was a disadvantage. And the good thing is that I was operating from home. We had an office before, but due to pandemic, we had to give up that office and work from home. So it also, with technology, I was
Right.
able to reach more people that way.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's
Yes.
amazing.
Awesome. Mhm.
All right. All right.
Very
I think
awesome.
Keisha had a question there. Let
Yeah,
me let me butt
you
out.
know, you mentioned in part of your explanation is that in some cases you've even taken individuals inside your home, which I think is brilliant. It's really
A true yardie.
Yes.
it adds that personal touch
Yes.
to the will to help others. It's certainly another level, right, with regards to you doing that. So I do want to commend you for that, because and when we really think of it, you are technically bringing strangers into your home, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. So definitely this is an individual in her profession that takes the extra step, goes the extra mile,
Yes.
because her intentions are to truly see her clients succeed in being positioned in here in Canada or anywhere else for that matter. But that's a great angle that you guys have taken. It's almost as if you've taken them up as your family, as hopefully we treat our family, right? To make sure that they're situated safely, properly, and have all the right tools and resources for that. So definitely commend you
Thank you.
for
Thank
that.
you.
Yes. Hmm.
In terms of the reverse,
Mhm.
relation to what Keisha had asked earlier, and you mentioned India, Africa.
Mhm.
So, how many individuals have you helped to go to those places, or like, what's the
Okay, we haven't helped people to go there. What we have done is to help people from there to
from
come.
the? Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
All right, all right.
Right.
And
But you
and
can help people to go there if or
Yes,
if
that's something that, once we see it as feasible. If people want to go there, why not? We already have the background information because
Mhm.
for what I have realized in the business is that the foundations are basically the same. It's just
okay,
that when it comes to government laws, it may be different.
right.
So
Mhm.
that is what we have to get acquainted with. That's what we need to know. So once we know that, then we're ready to help you anywhere in the world you want to go.
Once individuals come, right? Things like healthcare and all that sort of stuff. What kind of considerations should they be
Yeah, yes.
applying or putting in place when it comes to that?
When it comes to that, that's a very good question. So,
Yeah.
for international students,
Hmm.
majority of the colleges and universities have their own medical plan. So
Okay.
once we are signing up to be a student in that application form,
Hmm.
um, they also sign to the medical fees that they would pay. So they have partners. These colleges, universities have partners with insurance companies that give them at a lower rate than if
Hmm.
they were to go on their own and try to get their own health insurance.
Right.
So as an international student coming in, once they pay their tuition, there may be top up additional charges that they would have to consider. Maybe some colleges, universities, 1,000 for the year, some a little bit less, some a
Hmm.
little bit more, can even go up to $2,000, right, for the year. But what they do, they collect it per semester too, or per day, and then they add it to the tuition fees when you are paying the tuition fees. But that's a must. Each college or university has to report that to IRCC that this child or this student is covered for medical insurance in the event that something should happen to them.
Mhm.
And are the fees for that reasonable?
As I said, yes, it would be
Okay.
because the colleges and the universities, they partner with insurance companies that gives them at a little bit a lower rate than if they were to go on their own and do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. That's a good piece of information there. That's something that individuals are always concerned about. If
That's
I get
true.
That's
That's
sick
true.
or if I get
pricey.
hurt.
Yeah,
Right.
if something
That's
happens. Yeah.
Right.
true.
Um,
Yeah.
in terms of the the business itself, I mean, what are some of the highs, the lows, or what are some of the things, some of the questions perhaps we didn't even throw out to you that you can tell us about
Right.
what it is that you do.
Right. Well, I said thanks for the technology. The
Hmm.
highest for us is that we can use this medium
Hmm.
to reach a wider range of audience.
Right.
Um, we have been doing a little bit of marketing on the Facebook, on the
Right.
IG, Twitter, other channels, and but the number one takeaway from me is mouth to mouth. Referrals. That has
Right.
been the number one takeaway from me. Um, in terms of the lows, as a new company, as a new consultant, as a new counselor in the business, accreditation. People do not know you as yet.
Right.
Coming to Canada, there are many companies that will say they will help you, but then it turns out to be a scam.
Oh
So
yeah.
Mhm.
yes,
We know that well.
Right? So,
We get
you know, even the IRCC tries to put that out as much as possible now in educating people about
right.
that. They have their own college now that, you know, if you don't go by the standards of what an immigration consultant should be, you know, you can be penalized, right? That's has been our low key, people not really knowing of who we are, what we do, and what we can do to help you in the process. But as I said, with the number one takeaway of the mouth to mouth referrals, I know over time we will be able to overcome that challenge right now.
Of course, and even platforms such as this. Unless KP, you have any other questions, I have two
Go
questions
ahead.
here as we kind of wrap up the hour
Yeah,
here.
getting close.
Yeah, so I'll start off with where do you see yourself, where do you see your business in the next 5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
That's an interesting question. You know, when you go to interviews and they ask you that question, you're like, oh, you want to give them well put together answer that, you know, that's this job is yours. But to be on the frank side, and I'm going to give you a very, you know, transparent answer to that. In times or in life, what I've realized is what you want, or, you know, how you see yourself in the next 5 years. Sometimes we're putting ourselves in a closed box because the world is so big, right? So I am open. That is my answer to that. I'm open to going above or beyond where I am now. In, as I said, not just for myself, but in building the community at large, right? And when I said I'm open, I mean that other ventures that I may see this business is able to incorporate in, that will be able to align in helping immigrants, people who are here, people on the in other nations who we can help, then that is where I see myself. I want to be that that plug that, you know, if you don't plug me in, there will be no light. So that is where I see myself in the next 5 years, just doing more and doing and being better than who I am today in helping not just my business, but for everyone that, meaning that clients, friends, family, everybody around me, they will benefit from whatever it is that, or whatever venture it is that I'm doing.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for that transparency.
Yes.
And for those who are watching right now, or who may watch
Later on,
you know, for that individual or those individual out there that are looking at this live presentation here, someone who is looking to migrate, what would you say to them right now? What would be your word of advice to get them sparked in the right direction?
Don't come in winter.
Well, definitely. Yeah. Well, you know, somebody said to me the other day, that's an interesting point. You know, I was looking and going to New Brunswick, but I hear it's colder than the other parts of Canada. I'm like, you're looking to come to Canada. Canada on a whole is cold.
Yep.
If you're thinking of which is colder, you have to put your
choose one.
Ease yourself into it, man. So come in the summer. Just come ease yourself in.
I would say to those people, you know, Canada is a land of opportunity. As immigrants, we've come here, we've seen ourselves, you know, as in my bio, you can see I had accounting experience for 17 years. That's what I went to school with. But when I came here, I tapped in, I looked what it is that builds Canada. Without us, there's no Canada, right?
Right.
So I would say, you know, you're thinking of the venture, but you're not sure, get a visitor's visa. Come and see the place for yourself. See if this is a place that you would actually settle in. And again, you know, I put that in two brackets because coming to vacation and coming to live is two different things, right? One of my friends, she said she did it the hard way. She came and she visited in the snow to see
Mhm.
if that is something she could know, if she could live with.
Right.
Right? Others come in the summer, like you say, or in the spring, where they're able to go out and see the outdoors more for what it is and appreciate the nature, right? So, yes, in a nutshell, if this is what you're looking for and you are definitely not sure, um, come and visit, see this place, put yourself in it. Do you see yourself settling into a community like this? And if it is something that you want, of course we're here to advise you along the way and help to guide you and hold your hand through the entire process.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate you taking the time out to come and speak and
It's an
let
honor.
us
It was an honor.
Yeah,
let
man. We
us
really,
know,
really do
that
appreciate it.
yeah, that the services do exist. Especially sometimes we tend to take on ventures on our own, and if we align ourselves with the right people, we'll make the journey a little bit easier. Of course, where can individuals contact you? If you can just highlight again your social media networks, we'll put it in the chat. I do see it in the chat as well. But if you could verbalize, do you have something to say, KP?
No, yeah, no. Let me say it first, and then you
Yeah.
can correct me if I'm right. So first
Yes.
of all, we have your website here on the screen,
Yes.
dreamsworldtravel.com.
Travel.com. Yes.
You are also on Facebook, right?
As Dreams World Travel and Tours.
So say that again.
Dreams World Travel and Tours. That's
Okay.
what
That's what you're right. That's what you also have Minerva. You have is this a personal thing, a personal account for
Yes,
Minerva?
personal one. That's Minerva McCoon McBean.
Okay.
You can connect with me on Facebook directly as well.
You're on IG, dreams_world_travel.
Yes.
All right. Hit her up on IG. Make sure to go follow her there. Follow her on Facebook and LinkedIn. Right.
Yes.
You're on LinkedIn as Minerva-McCoon-McBean.
Yes.
Right. And of course, like I said, your website is on screen here. But I'll put this all in there so that the folks can see it.
Awesome.
Sure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
So
let
as
me.
you know, go ahead.
This is, let's see here. No, I just have to say it. Let's see here. Dreams World Travel. That's it.
Yeah.
Dreams World Travel Canada.
That sounds good.
Yes,
Is there? Do they communicate with you? Make contact via email, or is there a number that they can call you?
Yes. So my main medium of communication is through WhatsApp. So that's 416-991-8131.
Okay.
And again, that's
416-991-8131.
All right. No worries. We'll get that out there.
Good stuff. All right, good stuff. And as we know, because our time is obviously during the work hours and all that stuff. So a lot of our viewers, as the day progresses later on, and as the week progresses as well, that's when we get a lot of the hits of views. So it's there, of course, for individuals to watch and get this knowledge. And of course, good stuff. See the numbers right there to gain access, of course. Definitely. Awesome. So as you know, what we do is we prepare a platform, or we presented a platform that brings knowledge and opportunity to those in the community. Knowledge is power, as you say. That's what we go on. If we
and I saw today, knowledge is planting a seed. I saw it at one of our partner schools. So
there you go. Awesome. And having the resources and tapping in, because as we find, even in our culture, sometimes we don't speak a lot, we don't share a lot, and then others find themselves kind of stumbling and struggling through things that if we had the knowledge, or if we shared, it would have made it much easier for the next person. So we want to thank you for definitely being on this platform, and
we are now a part of your support system, by the way.
Of course.
I
welcome you guys.
We are in a community that if you have individuals who need help in certain ways, just reach out to Keisha. I'm not there, but touch base with Keisha.
I have Keisha at my disposal.
Yes,
and she has me at hers. Yes.
We're in the business of helping.
Yes.
Exactly. And then, of course, if there's individuals, if you're watching and there's some knowledge and opportunity that you have to give to the community, reach out to us so that we can have a bit of a conversation and see how you can fit into this platform to provide that information. Same thing, Minerva, if there's any in your circle that you could think of, oh, yes, I can definitely, this person would be a resource of information. We're definitely open to that as well. So thank you, everyone. Anything to say, KP? You want to cover?
Even if they want a hot meal, Minerva, that's whatever, those type of things. Just like you're saying, if folks come in and they are struggling in different ways, right?
Yes.
We're in that type of setting where we can help out, even if it's in that basic way, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, no, that's it, Keisha. That's it. Thanks once again to Miss Minerva for coming on here. You say there are so many other things in your bio that we didn't get to. It was just mainly what you do with this particular with your business here. We got to get you back on so that you can talk to us on the accounting side. You can talk to us about being a professor. Right?
Yes.
And of course, you are an author. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
We would love to have a conversation with
the local experts. That's the publishing company. And that's for another conversation.
All right. At least could you tell us the name of the book that you wrote?
So that's Level Up.
Okay.
Currently, I don't think it's on Amazon, but it can be pre-ordered. Once you pre-ordered, we can get you a copy. Right. And my chapter is on level up from who you think you are to who you really are.
All right. Love it already. All right, folks, until next time, next Thursday, we will be back with the team in full strength, hopefully.
Yes.
And we'll talk about all things that affect us in our community, man, and we'll continue to help you make sense of your dollar. All right, take care.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye.